Are you tired of paying top dollar for fruit that turns fuzzy overnight? Had enough of limp lettuce and carrots that bend instead of snap? It's 2025. Time to call out which grocery stores are delivering farm-fresh bounty and which are dishing out near compost. Some supermarkets have produce aisles like paradise, vibrant, crisp veggies and fragrant fruits that actually last until you eat them. Others? They unload bland, bruised goods that rot before you can say salad. Buckle up, we've dug through industry reports and chewed over customer reviews to bring you a no-nonsense, aggressive rundown of the 8 best and 8 worst U.S. grocery chains for fresh produce in 2025. No one is spared. We're naming the heroes feeding your family right and shaming the villains stocking moldy berries and rock-hard peaches. Think your local store is safe? Think again. Let's dive into who you can trust for crisp apples and leafy greens and who to avoid like a bag of rotten potatoes. The 8 best supermarkets for fresh produce 2025. These 8 grocery chains have climbed to the top of the food chain when it comes to produce quality, freshness, variety, and even ethical sourcing. From stores with farmers market vibes and local sourcing to giants that move produce so fast nothing sits around to spoil, these are the places where your fruits and veggies are in good hands. They might not always be the cheapest, some will make your wallet ache, but if you crave juicy, flavorful produce that lasts, these stores deliver. Let's count them down. 8. Sam's Club. Bulk bargains, surprisingly fresh finds. Don't sleep on Sam's Club for produce. This warehouse retailer is outshining its big box siblings in the freshness fight. Yes, Sam's is owned by Walmart. More on Walmart's produce fails later. But Sam's Club has quietly become a secret weapon for produce lovers buying in bulk. In a head-to-head test, Sam's produce beat Costco's in 5 out of 8 categories for freshness and quality. Shoppers rave that Sam's gigantic bags of fruits and veggies often stay fresh as long as smaller portions from other stores at a fraction of the price. While Costco's produce section is bigger, one reviewer declared that going forward they'd shop at Sam's knowing I'm most likely getting the freshest fruits and veggies and all at a great price. Try finding a perfectly ripe cantaloupe or a huge sack of oranges at Sam's. Chances are they'll impress you with vibrant color and aroma. The citrus even smelled enticing right in the store. Unlike Walmart's dismal produce displays, Sam's Club keeps standards higher, with produce inspectors ensuring those bulk packs aren't just large, but worth lugging home. Sure, you have to buy 5 pounds of apples or 3 heads of lettuce at once, but if you've got a big family or a juicing habit, Sam's value and surprising quality make it a produce heaven in warehouse clothing. Bring a friend and a big fridge, you'll walk out with enough fresh food to feed an army, and it won't start rotting tomorrow. 7. The Fresh Market. Old school quality worth the splurge. If you crave an upscale, old-world grocery experience where produce shopping feels like a stroll through a European market, the Fresh Market is calling your name. This chain, around 160 stores in 22 states, has built its reputation on premium produce presented in style. Walk in and you're greeted by a display of beautiful flowers and then heaps of gorgeous fruits and veggies. The Fresh Market doesn't do anything halfway. You'll find jumbo blueberries, heirloom tomatoes, exotic seasonal fruits, and locally grown staples, all curated for flavor. Shoppers absolutely notice the difference. In fact, a USA Today survey ranked the Fresh Market the best supermarket in America in 2021 and 2022. Due in large part to its standout fresh departments, customers gush that the chain delivers fresh fruits and vegetables reliably, supporting a healthy lifestyle and looking good while doing it. It's the kind of place where the produce workers will chat about which farm grew the peaches this week, or offer you a taste of a perfectly ripe plum. Yes, prices run higher here, you're paying for that quality and service, but fans swear it's worth it. Deals do pop up, loyalty members get regular discounts, and the weekly specials can be excellent. But the real draw is knowing that virtually every item in the produce section is top tier. From crisp lettuce to sweet melons, Fresh Market's produce is so good it might ruin other stores for you. For those willing to splurge a bit to get peak season flavor and a pleasant shopping trip, the Fresh Market remains a cut above most national chains. Shopping here genuinely feels like a pleasure trip, not a gamble on whether your salad greens will survive the night. 6. Hy-Vee. Farm fresh Midwest goodness with variety. Midwesterners have a not-so-secret love affair with Hy-Vee, and its produce department is one big reason why. Hy-Vee takes a hands-on, local-first approach to fruits and veggies that many bigger chains just can't match. The company proudly partners with over 250 local farmers, all within 200 miles of their stores, to stock produce. That means the tomatoes and sweet corn in an Iowa Hy-Vee may well come from an Iowa farm. Shorter time from field to shelf means crisper, more flavorful produce, and great prices too. Shoppers describe Hy-Vee's fruits and vegetables as fresh, aromatic, and colorful, thanks to this focus on local sourcing and quick turnover. But Hy-Vee also knows one size doesn't fit all. They actually tailor their selection to regional tastes. For example, Hy-Vee's VP of Produce noted it's fine to sell frozen okra in Iowa, but in the Southeast, where Hy-Vee has expanded, fresh okra is a must-have. This chain listens to its customers' preferences, ensuring each store carries what people in that area want most. Walk into a Hy-Vee and you'll find everything from the basics, apples, bananas, potatoes, to organics and specialty items, all in a well-kept, inviting layout. They keep prices fair and competitive, plus a robust loyalty program and weekly deals make it easy to save while eating healthy. Hy-Vee has even been named a top 3 favorite grocery store in America and among the most trusted brands, so it's not just hype. Bottom line, Hy-Vee feels like your friendly neighborhood grocer with produce straight from the farm, but on a scale large enough to offer serious variety. They've proven you don't have to sacrifice quality for convenience. If you're lucky enough to have a Hy-Vee nearby, it's one of the best places to fill your fridge with fresh produce without breaking the bank or worrying about subpar goods. Where shopping is a pleasure isn't just a slogan. Publix lives it, especially in the produce aisle. This beloved southeastern chain has earned die-hard loyalty by delivering high-quality fruits and veggies with a smile, day in and day out. Customers often comment that Publix produce is nearly always fresh, abundant, and well-presented. You're not digging through piles of bruised apples or wilted spinach here. In fact, some shoppers swear you can't find better produce anywhere than at Publix. One longtime fan admits Publix can be pricey for everyday items, but they will splurge on produce there because the quality is much better than anywhere else. That quality comes from Publix's high standards and good sourcing practices. They offer lots of clearly labeled organic options under their GreenWise brand, and they stay on top of rotation, so you're rarely going to find expired salad mixes or moldy berries on their shelves. Walk into a Publix and you'll see neatly stacked peppers and citrus, misters keeping the greens crisp, and employees ready to slice a sample of that ripe pineapple for you if you ask. The chain also prides itself on service. If you need something special, like a veggie tray made to order, or a case of local peaches, they'll do their best to get it. And unlike some high-end grocers, Publix often runs good promotions, BOGOs, weekly specials, even on produce. Narrowing the price gap, Publix strikes a sweet spot. It feels upscale in quality, but still like a friendly neighborhood store in experience. They've expanded their reach beyond the Deep South into states like Virginia and even up to New Jersey, and new customers quickly see what the hype is about. From firm garden-fresh cucumbers to perfectly sweet oranges, Publix's produce keeps shoppers coming back. Add in the clean stores and famously helpful staff, and it's clear why many Southerners won't shop anywhere else for their fruits and veggies. Publix proves that a big chain can keep quality personal, and it has the fan base to show for it. 4. Sprouts Farmers Market. Affordable organics and huge variety. Sprouts Farmers Market is basically a produce lover's playground. Founded in 2002 with a mission to bring a farmer's market feel to a grocery store, Sprouts has exploded to nearly 400 stores across 23 states by 2025. Walk into any Sprouts and you'll know how it got its name. The produce section is front and center and massive, often taking up a big chunk of the store. Sprouts lives up to its reputation with an excellent variety of fresh fruits and vegetables, including loads of organic choices. They source produce from farmers around the country and feature seasonal, local items whenever possible. Tired of the same old selection? Sprouts is known to carry fun specialty items you won't find at a typical supermarket. Think cotton candy, grapes, yellow dragon fruit, papayas, or Chinese eggplant as occasional treats amongst the staples. Shoppers describe a trip through Sprouts as a breath of fresh air compared to cookie-cutter big-box produce sections. The produce here isn't pre-packaged and hidden, it's piled high in bins like a true farmer's market, inviting you to pick your perfect pieces. Perhaps most impressive, Sprouts manages to keep prices very competitive, often beating conventional grocery stores on organic produce. Fans famously say Sprouts offers Whole Foods quality at Food Lion prices. In fact, Sprouts' produce is generally about half the price of upscale grocers, which means you can load up on healthy stuff without draining your wallet. Is it perfect? A few customers note that Sprouts' low prices sometimes mean you should eat things quickly. Occasionally, a squishy grape or a bad spot on an apple sneaks in. But most agree that the savings and selection are more than worth it, and those issues are rare. Sprouts also fights food waste by selling rescued odd-shaped produce at a discount and rigorously inspecting everything that comes through their distribution centers. Bottom line, Sprouts Farmers Market brings the charm of a local produce stand with the scale of a chain. For variety, value, and sheer produce excitement, Sprouts is hard to beat. It's the kind of place where you run in for avocados and leave with 3 bags full of gorgeous, healthy finds, and maybe some bulk nuts and snacks from the middle aisles too. 3. H-E-B, Texas's homegrown produce powerhouse. Everything's bigger and fresher in Texas, and H-E-B's produce section is no exception. Texans are obsessed with H-E-B, and once you experience their food quality, you'll understand why. This regional chain, over 300 stores, mostly in Texas, consistently ranks among America's top grocers for quality and customer satisfaction. In produce, H-E-B goes above and beyond. They've built relationships with local Texas farms to get produce to stores faster and fresher than the competition. As one customer raved on Reddit, H-E-B's selection is so fresh that even something simple like the bell peppers or avocados seems superior. The produce and pepper selection is so much fresher. The avocados are always singing to me, this fan wrote. The secret? Much of H-E-B's produce is literally made in Texas, grown nearby and in-store quickly, rather than shipped across the country. Shorter transport means ripe, flavorful fruits and veggies on the shelf that haven't been sitting in a truck for 2 weeks. H-E-B also ensures a wide variety, from standard items to Texas specialties. You'll find ripe hill country peaches in summer, Texas oranges in winter, and plenty of organic options year-round. They even offer cool pre-prep choices like freshly made veggie kebabs and fruit trays for convenience. Shoppers compare H-E-B's produce favorably against national superstores. One common theme: so much fresher than Walmart, and even better tasting. Despite this high quality, H-E-B keeps prices reasonable and often features weekly coupons and specials so you can save on produce without compromising quality. It's no wonder H-E-B was ranked the most trusted grocery retailer for fresh produce in America in a recent survey. They've earned a reputation for excellence that they fiercely uphold. Now, if you don't live in Texas, you might be shedding a tear. H-E-B hasn't expanded nationwide yet, but their influence is clear. They set a standard big chains aspire to. If you ever road trip through Texas, do yourself a favor and visit an H-E-B produce aisle. You'll see mounds of local beautiful fruits and veggies that make you want to fill your cart. H-E-B proves that a big grocery can still feel local. They bring the farm to the supermarket, and your taste buds will thank you. 2. Wegmans, produce paradise with unmatched freshness. On the East Coast, Wegmans is practically a religion, and its produce department is one of the main altars. This family-owned grocer, primarily in the Northeast, has a cult following for its overall shopping experience. But let's talk produce. Wegmans might have the freshest fruits and vegetables in the game. One key is insane turnover. Wegmans sells through produce about 5 times faster than many competitors, meaning nothing sits around long enough to go bad. High volume plus loyal customers, constantly refresh stock and super fresh picks for you. Wegmans also goes straight to the source. They operate some of their own organic farms and partner with local farmers near each store for a steady supply of seasonal items. Everything has to meet Wegmans' quality requirements as part of their strong produce safety culture. Translation: if those peaches or lettuce heads aren't up to snuff, they don't hit the shelf. Customers deeply appreciate this commitment. Shoppers gush that at Wegmans, everything you buy is fresh, tasty, and colorful, often locally sourced, so it's both delicious and not wildly expensive. Indeed, Wegmans makes buying organic or local produce easier on the wallet. Prices are fair for the quality, and many say it doesn't hurt your pockets the way some upscale stores do. Variety is another Wegmans strong suit. You'll find all the basics plus harder-to-find items. Have you ever seen lychees or fresh currants at a mainstream grocery? Wegmans likely has them when in season. The stores are big, and Wegmans uses that space to give you tons of choices and beautiful displays that can turn a quick grocery run into an inspiring foodie adventure. Importantly, Wegmans employs knowledgeable produce staff. Customers feel that produce managers and associates take the time to inspect each fruit and vegetable before placing them on the shelves, ensuring only the best make it out for sale. That meticulous care shows in the eating. Wegmans produce is often so flavorful it can spoil you against lesser stores. They also care about helping shoppers use all this great produce. Wegmans provides nutritionists on staff and meal planning resources to help you incorporate those veggies into your diet. Talk about going above and beyond. The only downside, Wegmans' geographic reach is limited. If you're not in the Northeast or Mid-Atlantic, you're out of luck for now. But for those who have one nearby, Wegmans is the gold standard. It marries the reliability of a large supermarket with the soul of a local farm stand, and the result is simply outstanding produce. It's no surprise Wegmans keeps topping consumer surveys and best grocery lists year after year. They've earned it one perfectly ripe tomato at a time. 1. Whole Foods Market, the organic gold standard at a price. Love it or roll your eyes at it, Whole Foods Market is still the undefeated champ of produce quality in 2025. This is the store that practically invented premium grocery produce, being the first certified organic national grocer and setting the bar for everyone else decades ago. Step into Whole Foods and you enter produce paradise. Mounds of vibrant organic kale, gleaming apples, a rainbow of heirloom tomatoes, bins of exotic fruits like mangoes and figs, all beautifully arranged and incredibly high quality. Whole Foods built its brand on standards, and it shows. They refuse anything but the best. 100% of their produce is rigorously inspected, and organic items are kept truly organic. Their facilities get third-party inspected to ensure no mingling with non-organics. You'll find specialty offerings here too. Whole Foods is known to stock fun varieties like cotton candy grapes or seasonal Hatchchilds, plus lots of local produce from nearby farms when available. Shoppers often describe Whole Foods produce in almost reverent terms. Vibrant, pristine, the freshest you can get. One TikTok user even joked, "Once Whole Foods fails me, I'm done with eating produce, period." That's the level of trust they command. The chain's mission centers on nourishing people and the planet, and indeed they prioritize organic and sustainable farming like no one else. If a conventionally grown peach doesn't meet Whole Foods specs, they'll source an organic one that does, even if it costs more. The only knock on Whole Foods has always been price. It's not nicknamed Whole Paycheck for nothing. You will pay more here, sometimes a lot more, for that impeccable bunch of asparagus or those perfectly ripe berries. But fans insist the price is worth every penny as an investment in your health and well-being. And since the Amazon acquisition, there have been some efforts to temper the cost, special sales for Prime members, etc., making it a bit more accessible. The truth is, Whole Foods produce quality is so high that many competitors still can't match it, even in 2025. The store gets a gold star on options too, from a huge variety of organic staples to a salad bar of ultra-fresh cut veggies and greens. Whole Foods basically set the standard for what fresh organic grocery produce should be in America. And while others have caught up in some ways, Whole Foods is still the apex for those who demand the very best and are willing to pay. If you have the budget or just need something special, like the prettiest fruit for an event, Whole Foods is the fail-safe choice for peak quality produce. Just watch your receipt. That perfect farmer's market quality haul might cost you, say, a small mortgage. But hey, at least you'll eat like royalty. Not all grocery stores are created equal, and these next 8 prove it in ugly fashion. If the thought of moldy berries, stinky fresh-cut produce, or sketchy origins turns your stomach, steer clear of the following offenders. Whether it's poor quality control, sky-high prices for subpar goods, downright unethical sourcing, or just terrible customer service, these supermarkets flunk out of the produce department. We pull no punches here. From big national chains that absolutely should know better, to regional players with horrific reputations, here are the 8 worst grocery stores to buy fresh produce in 2025. Consider yourself warned, and don't be surprised if some of these names overlap with our meat aisle losers. Once a company shows it doesn't care about quality, the rot tends to spread. The 8 worst supermarkets for fresh produce, 2025. 8. Lidl. Big promises, rotten produce. Quality control nightmare. Europe's Lidl came into the US market boasting about high quality and low prices, but when it comes to produce, they face-planted hard. On paper, Lidl advertises organic offerings and farm-fresh produce. In practice, customers are finding rotten fruits and veggies on the shelves far too often. Don't take our word for it. Listen to actual shoppers. One Trustpilot review from mid-2025 lamented, "I'm extremely disappointed with the produce section at Lidl. Every container of strawberries I looked at had visible mold." Another reviewer of a Lidl in Greenville, SC, said the store was absolutely filthy and the vegetables were rotten, slamming the staff for not caring. Ouch. These aren't isolated incidents either. Enough people have encountered gross produce at Lidl that the chain earned a lousy reputation fast. For a company that tries to position itself as a step up from other discounters, that's embarrassing. Even Lidl employees or former ones have hinted at problems, handling and storage issues in the supply chain that lead to quick spoilage. In one online poll, shoppers mentioned Lidl among places they don't trust for produce quality. It's almost worse that Lidl pretends to be premium while failing at basics like keeping fresh food fresh. Sure, their produce is cheap, but what good is cheap if half of it belongs in a compost heap? Some Lidl locations do better than others. A few fans defend their local store's produce, but inconsistency is the name of the game. You might get a great deal on blueberries one week, then buy a bag of salad the next that's slimy by the time you get home. It's Russian roulette in the worst way. Until Lidl seriously improves quality control, both in their warehouses and at store-level culling of bad items, budget-conscious shoppers are taking a risk buying produce here. You don't want to be the person who opens a package of mushrooms and has flies burst out. Yes, that happened to an Aldi shopper, and Lidl's mishaps have been similarly nightmare-inducing. Bottom line, Lidl may save you a few bucks, but if you value edible produce, you're better off almost anywhere else. As one frustrated customer put it, "I'd rather pay a little more elsewhere than deal with this." Consider that your cue to avoid Lidl's produce aisle unless you enjoy playing Find the Least Rotten Banana while holding your nose. Trader Joe's, limited selection and blinking its bad freshness. We know, Trader Joe's has a cult following and is adored for cheap wine, snacks, and quirky products. But when it comes to the produce section, Trader Joe's is a big disappointment. In fact, many loyal TJ shoppers flat out refuse to buy their produce there. Why? For starters, the selection is tiny. You could stand in front of a typical Trader Joe's produce display and see everything without even turning your head. A few kinds of apples, a couple of pre-bagged salad mixes, maybe some bananas and avocados. And that's it. If you need anything remotely unusual or a specific veggie, tough luck. Trader Joe's carries maybe 10% of what a full-size grocery store would. And you can't ask for anything custom, no in-store butcher or produce specialist to cut a melon or tell you when those mangoes will ripen. Everything at TJ's is pre-packaged and generic. That leads to problem 2. Produce often comes wrapped in too much packaging and often isn't the freshest. Customers regularly complain that Trader Joe's fruits and veggies seem to spoil faster than competitors, implying. One former TJ's employee revealed how often they had to pull rotten onions or celery that were weirdly rotting from the inside out. Yikes. The likely reason? Trader Joe's sources produce a bit differently. They have a tight supplier network and buy produce that might not be grade A to keep costs low. It's still safe to eat, but it may be older or not as pretty, meaning shorter shelf life at home. They do restock daily and pull spoiled stuff aggressively, but still, the food you bring home from TJ's is not the freshest option available, one writer concluded bluntly. Another kicker, Trader Joe's prices seem low but can be deceptive. They often price produce per item, e.g. apple 79 cents, instead of by weight, which sometimes means you pay more than at other stores for the same quantity. A sweet potato at TJ's cost 89 cents each, while Whole Foods' famously expensive sold organic sweet potatoes by the pound that worked out cheaper in many cases. So much for the bargain image. And did we mention transparency? Trader Joe's wraps everything in their own label and gives almost no info on where it came from. If you care about whether your produce is local or which farm grew it, you're out of luck. TJ's keeps their supplier name secret. To be fair, some folks still defend Trader Joe's produce quality. A few Redditors claim it's impeccable quality, just not a lot of variety. But the overwhelming consensus, even among TJ's fans, is get your produce elsewhere. You don't want to be throwing out half your haul after 2 days. So enjoy Trader Joe's for the cookies, the frozen dumplings, the $4 wine. But if you're doing serious produce shopping, this is not your one-stop shop. Unless you love tiny avocados and surprise mold, Trader Joe's produce will just let you down. 6-point Stop and Shop. High prices, low freshness in a time warp. Stop and Shop is one of those legacy grocery chains over a century-old 400-plus stores in the Northeast that seems to be resting on its laurels, and nowhere is that more apparent than in its produce department. Simply put, Stop and Shop can't compete with modern grocers when it comes to fresh produce, and customers have noticed the chain regularly lands on consumer worst lists for produce. Walk into a Stop and Shop and you might feel like you've time-traveled back 20 years. The produce selection is uninspired and often lacking. They have the basics, sure, but you won't find the array of organic choices or interesting new items that today's shoppers expect. Want a specific herb or a trendy veggie like broccolini? Good luck. Even staples might be hit or miss. Many Stop and Shops seem to have trouble keeping shelves stocked with fresh goods. And fresh is questionable. Much of the produce comes pre-packaged in plastic, which erodes any confidence about ripeness or local sourcing. When you see shrink-wrapped zucchini or bagged oranges only, you wonder how long ago those were sealed up. Customers certainly aren't feeling the love. Stop and Shop falls short of providing the wide array of fresh produce that today's customer is looking for. One review stated plainly, even the organic offerings are few and far between, especially compared to competitors that have whole organic sections. To make matters worse, Stop and Shop doesn't even play the cheap card well. Their prices aren't beating anyone. If you're going to put up with subpar selection, you'd expect a discount, but many shoppers find Stop & Shop's produce prices higher than other local chains which might actually have better quality. It's a lose-lose. Cleanliness is another red flag. Some Stop & Shop locations have been dinged for not-so-tidy produce areas, with reports of less than stellar cleanliness that no one wants to think about while buying food. In customer service, often non-existent in produce. Good luck finding someone to ask about how to tell if a melon is ripe. The counter is probably empty. Stop & Shop basically feels like the complacent old grocer that hasn't adapted and consumers are voting with their feet. When a store's produce is known for being mediocre and overpriced, people will drive the extra mile to a Wegmans or a farmer's market instead. Unless Stop & Shop undergoes a produce revolution, it's going to keep bleeding shop. In 2025, nobody has patience for sad-looking lettuce at premium prices in a dingy aisle. Life's too short for bad produce, and unfortunately, Stop & Shop's produce is stuck in the past. Food Lion. Low prices, low quality, old scandals die hard. Food Lion has been trying to shake a bad reputation for decades. But in the produce arena, it still hasn't clawed its way out of the cellar. This Southeast Mid-Atlantic chain, 1,000 Pulse stores, is known as a budget grocer, and indeed you can snag some cheap deals here, but when it comes to fruits and veggies, you often get what you pay for, which isn't much. The selection at Food Lion is strictly ordinary. You'll find the basics: apples, bananas, a few salad greens, but little to no exotic or organic offerings compared to better stores. If you want something like fresh ginger or a specific kind of apple, you may be out of luck. Variety just isn't their focus. More concerning is quality. Food Lion's produce is frequently described as lackluster or past its prime. Shoppers report having to dig through piles to find non-bruised items, and it's not uncommon to spot a rotten pepper or two that staff missed removing. The chain has a long history of image problems. Back in 1992, it was slammed in an ABC investigation for unsanitary practices. That infamous scandal involved bleach on old meat, not produce, but it hurt the brand. While Food Lion has cleaned up since the 90s, some stigma remains. A consumer survey noted that Food Lion still ranked low on quality and cleanliness measures in recent years. Ouch! Even today, customers on forums quip that buying high-quality produce at Food Lion is an oxymoron. One commenter bluntly said they would not expect anything especially high quality from Food Lion's produce, especially given the low prices. Indeed, Food Lion's produce is cheap, but often because it's lower grade, expect more grade done to produce. May be safe to eat, but perhaps less flavor or freshness than higher-end grocers. They do have a few in-house brands like Nature's Promise touting organic or locally sourced items, but the actual experience often disappoints. Customers have reported off-tasting or oddly textured fruits from Food Lion. Not rotten, but just not great. The company's efforts to improve, like sourcing some local farm products, are uneven at best. And if you care about ethics, Food Lion's parent company Ahold Delhaize doesn't exactly lead on sustainability or animal welfare. Not a direct produce issue, but it speaks to a corporate philosophy of good enough is good enough. In our book, Food Lion remains a you get what you pay for store. If you need very cheap produce and don't mind that it's likely lower quality or flavor, Food Lion can fill that need. If you can afford even a little better, you might want to take your $8 and buy lettuce and tomatoes somewhere that won't leave you underwhelmed. Food Lion has its loyal shoppers, but for many it's the last resort for fresh produce, a legacy of past sins and present mediocrity that keeps it among the worst. Bargain or not, limp lettuce is never a good deal. Aldi, great grocery deals, terrible produce track record. This one might surprise some folks, since Aldi is a rising star in the U.S. grocery scene, beloved for low prices and quirky products. But when it comes to fresh produce, Aldi has earned a rather notorious reputation. Cheap, yes, but often cheap for a reason. In fact, in a 2023 poll of shoppers on Facebook, Aldi was the second most complained about chain for bad produce behind only Walmart. Story after story paints the same picture. Produce from Aldi tends to spoil incredibly fast. One frustrated customer wrote, "If you don't use the produce the same day, it goes bad. I bought strawberries and they were moldy the next day, bananas that turn brown very quickly. It's a waste of money for me to buy produce there." Another said, Lettuce rots in 2 days and cucumbers already look rotten at the store. Even returning a bag of mandarins because some had mold on them. Yeah, there's even a horror story of someone buying mushrooms at Aldi and flies bursting out of the package the very night they bought it. That Reddit post has likely put a few people off mushrooms altogether. So what gives? Aldi keeps prices low through a streamlined supply chain and sometimes lower-grade sourcing. It appears that at least in some regions, Aldi's produce may not always be the top-tier, longest-lasting stock. It could be items that other stores passed on or that have shorter remaining shelf life. Aldi also famously has a no-frills approach. Minimal staffing. No produce clerks hovering to cull bad items every hour. If something starts to spoil, it might sit there longer. Now, to be fair, not everyone hates Aldi's produce. Some loyalists in that same poll defended their local Aldi, saying, "I love my Aldi produce, always fresh." It seems the quality can vary by location and distributor. Aldi has also tried to improve, increasing its organic selection and ensuring better rotation, but the hit-or-miss label sticks. The consensus is you have to be careful, check those sell-by dates, inspect for hidden mold, and plan to use Aldi produce quickly. The irony is that Aldi otherwise gets high marks. People love the meats, dairy, pantry items. It's just fresh fruits and veggies where it consistently falters. Aldi's own execs have acknowledged customer feedback about produce and claimed they're working on it. But as of 2025, we still see constant complaints online about buying a bag of potatoes or onions that ends up having a rotten one in the middle. A common Aldi surprise: if you smell anything but dirt, put it back, one veteran shopper advises. Ultimately, Aldi remains a budget haven with a produce problem. If you go in knowing this, you can still snag deals. Just maybe skip the berries and get the frozen ones. But if you value longevity and top freshness, Aldi's produce aisle can be an exercise in frustration or even disgust. As one Facebook user succinctly put it, everything else is great, just not produce. For a chain that otherwise punches above its weight, that's a big Achilles heel, and enough to land Aldi on the worst list for produce. Safeway, Albertsons, and Friends. Overpriced premium produce fail. Safeway, Albertsons, Vons, Jewel Osco, whatever name it goes by in your region, it's the same company and it has the same produce department woes coast to coast. These stores often try to market themselves as upscale or top quality, but many produce shoppers will tell you that behind the attractive displays, the quality and value just aren't there. A professional butcher's viral walkthrough of a Safeway meat department exposed some sketchy practices, and while that was about meat, produce departments have their own issues with appearance over substance. Safeway, Albertsons. Stores love to showcase beautiful-looking fruits in season, but how many times have customers been burned by, say, a carton of berries that looks fine on top, but is moldy underneath? Too many. One major gripe is price. Safeway's produce isn't necessarily bad quality at face value. It's usually standard fare, decent-looking, but they charge a hefty premium for it, often significantly more than competitor. In one analysis, Safeway's prices were 32% higher than Walmart's and 17% higher than Target's for comparable items. They're basically pricing like Whole Foods without Whole Foods level quality. Untainable is how one review described Safeway Albertsons produce prices given the competition today. And if you're paying more, it better be great, but often it's not. Safeway has struggled with staying competitive on freshness. Their huge distribution network means produce travels far and sometimes sits longer. Many shoppers have noticed that produce from Safeway spoils faster than it should, or isn't as flavorful. There's nothing worse than an expensive peach that tastes like cardboard. Even Safeway's attempts at premium lines, they do carry some organic and locally grown items, are undermined by execution. The chain doesn't have the rigorous standards of a Wegmans or Whole Foods, so you might find a premium-priced organic salad mix in your cart that has slimy leaves hidden inside because staff didn't pull it on time. They'll happily sell it to you and let you discover the rot at home. Customer trust is low. Safeway Albertsons also isn't leading on ethics or transparency. They're still selling produce grown with conventional methods and haven't distinguished themselves with any big sustainability initiative. It's just basic product at high cost. People have caught on. Many only shop here if it's the only choice or if there's a big sale. Otherwise, why pay Safeway's markup? Even employees seem demoralized. The stores often feel understaffed. Good luck finding someone in produce if you need assistance or a question answered. And have you seen the clearance rack? Some Safeways will stick clearly old, borderline produce on manager's special, rather than toss it, technically reducing waste, but kinda gross if the stuff is way past edible. All told, Safeway and its sister brands earned this spot by failing to deliver value or excellence. They present themselves as premium stores but too often sell average to good quality produce at unjustifiable prices. Shoppers notice when they're being gouged, especially if the product doesn't back it up. There are simply too many better options. Unless Safeway Albertsons drastically changes course, lower prices or higher quality, preferably both, they'll keep losing produce shoppers to the competition. Right now they've got the worst of both worlds. Faux premium produce that might just decay in your fridge while your receipt burns a hole in your wallet. No thanks. 2. Target. Stick to socks, not salad. Target excels at many things. Stylish home decor, affordable fashion, electronics, but fresh groceries, that's not Target's bullseye. Even Target seems half-hearted about produce and it shows. Most Target stores, aside from a few Super Target hypermarkets, have a tiny produce section that feels like an afterthought. We're talking a couple of refrigerated cases with some bagged salads, a small rack of bananas and apples, maybe a few pre-cut fruit cups. The selection is extremely limited. Don't expect to do a full produce shop here, you'll likely only find the bare basics, and even those basics often disappoint. Shoppers consistently report that Target's produce quality is subpar, fruits lack flavor, veggies often come pre-packaged in quantities you don't want, and freshness is hit or miss. Target doesn't employ on-site produce experts. Everything arrives sealed and ready. That means if the bag of oranges they got was packed with a bad one, it's still on display unless a general employee notices. No one is babying the produce section like at a real grocery store. Price-wise, Target isn't even cheap on produce. Analyses have found that popular items like berries, grapes, or bananas often cost more at Target than at dedicated supermarkets. You're paying convenience store prices for grocery store quality or work, and since they package things for quick grab and go, you often can't choose how many you buy. Like it or not, you're stuck with a 2-pound sack of potatoes or a trio pack of bell peppers, even if you only needed one. The lack of control and higher unit prices are a bad combo. Variety is basically non-existent. If you're hunting for something like fresh herbs, a specific mushroom, or a seasonal fruit, Target will almost certainly let you down. Organic options? Rare sightings. They might have one token organic salad mix or a bag of organic apples, but that's it. It's clear Target's focus is not on sourcing great produce, but just on checking the box so you can grab a bag of baby carrots along with your shampoo. Even Target's own statements emphasize shelf-stable goods. Produce is more of a convenience play, and convenience is the only reason to ever buy produce at Target. If you're already there and desperately need an item or two, numerous customers advise exactly that. Target is fine if you have a hankering for a fresh snack while shopping, but don't do your real produce shopping there. You'll end up frustrated by the slim pickings and likely have to go to another store anyway to complete your list. Target has made some investments in groceries in recent years, but mostly in adding curbside pickup and more organic packaged foods. They haven't suddenly developed produce expertise. Until they do, stick to buying your TV and t-shirts at Target, not your tomatoes. Their produce aisle will remain a sad little corner, best skipped. As one write-up put it, leave the store off your list when it's time to buy groceries. We couldn't agree more. Target hits the bullseye in retail, but for fresh food it's way off mark, making it one of the worst places to stock up on produce. 1. Walmart. The absolute worst. Massive scale, minimal care. No shocker here. Walmart tops the list of shame for fresh produce. The nation's largest grocer has the reach and resources to deliver quality, but when profit and volume are kings, freshness and flavor royally suffer. Customers have been complaining about Walmart's produce for years, and surveys consistently rank Walmart dead last for produce quality and customer satisfaction. In 2023, Walmart once again came in last in customer surveys on food quality, a familiar spot it's held for over a decade. Let's break down the failure. Freshness? Practically a joke. Shoppers widely report that Walmart's produce is less fresh when compared to other outlets, often noticeably so. Many have the experience of buying fruits or veggies at Walmart,
only to have them spoil with lightning speed at home. One theory is Walmart's gargantuan distribution system. They move produce in huge shipments, and items can spend a long time in transit or storage, meaning what hits the shelf is already on the back end of its life. A former Walmart produce department manager chimed in online to confirm the worst. The stuff I used to get would come off the truck with mold on it. Ridiculous. If it's moldy on arrival, what hope do customers have? Quality standards. Walmart barely has them. Unlike chains that carefully inspect or have supplier quality programs, Walmart seems to focus on low price, high volume above all. They'll take huge lots of produce, even if it's not top grade, to keep prices down. And it shows. You won't find a great selection of organics or specialty varieties at Walmart. It's mostly the cheapest conventional stuff. Variety is limited too. Walmart isn't stocking interesting seasonal produce. It's the basics, often in bulk bags. If you want one nice zucchini, sorry, here's a 5-pack of whatever size they have. Presentation and service, virtually non-existent. Walmart's produce sections are often messy and sparsely staffed. Good luck finding help or even a misting system that works. Customers have complained about sparse offerings and poorly maintained displays, and if something's out of stock or bad, it might sit there a while. Employees in that massive store are stretched thin, and produce is low priority. Walmart also hasn't been a leader in ethical sourcing for produce. They'll buy from wherever is cheapest, often meaning far-flung imports, which can impact freshness. While others tout local farm partnerships, Walmart rarely does, except maybe a token sign in summer. It's just not part of their model. What about price? Sure, Walmart is cheap, but even that has had scandals. One viral TikTok showed Walmart overcharging by labeling a lightweight for a heavier price on a pack of chicken, implying they might not always be honest on produce weights either. Accidental or not, it erodes trust. And honestly, if half your purchase goes bad, was it really cheaper? The final nail in the coffin, an EatThis.com poll of 500 polled people saw hundreds name Walmart as the worst produce spot, by far the most mentions of any chain. Customers said Walmart, hands down, with an almost angry consensus. Even a former Walmart produce manager chimed in, as noted, confirming the horror behind the scenes. When your own people admit it's the worst, case closed. In short, Walmart's produce aisle is a minefield of limp greens, tasteless fruit, and frequent disappointment. They may dominate grocery sales, but they've abdicated quality. Unless you enjoy throwing away money on spoiled food or fighting fellow shoppers for the one decent head of lettuce, do yourself a favor. Get your produce anywhere else. Walmart has earned this U1 worst spot through years of neglect, and until they radically change, your healthiest move is to avoid their produce section altogether. Choosing where to buy your fresh produce in 2025 can make or break your meals and maybe your health and sanity. The difference between a juicy farm-fresh tomato and a mealy sad one often comes down to which store you trust with your produce dollar. We've named the heroes and the villains of the grocery world, from the top-tier stores that treat fruits and veggies with the care they deserve, to the bottom feeders that will sell you who knows what with a smile. The landscape is clear. Want crisp, flavorful, longer-lasting produce? Head to the likes of Whole Foods, Wegmans, H-E-B, Sprouts, or those other all-stars that invest in quality and local sourcing. They'll cost a bit more, except wonderful outliers like Sprouts or maybe Sam's Club. But you truly get what you pay for, and your taste buds will thank you. On the flip side, if you're tempted by one-stop convenience or ultra-low prices, remember what you've learned here. Demand better or you'll get burned. Don't settle for brown lettuce, rock-hard peaches, or bargains that end up in the trash. Whether it's calling out Walmart's perpetual produce problems or giving Aldi some tough love about their fruits, let these rankings be your guide and your motivation to seek out stores that value freshness. The good news: many grocers are stepping up, and fresh produce is a priority like never before in the industry. As shoppers, we hold the power. Spend your money where the produce is prime, and skip the pretenders selling wilted greens at premium prices. Your dinner table, your family's health, and your palate will all reap the rewards. So next time you shop, choose wisely and enjoy that crisp, delicious produce the way it's meant to be. Happy and healthy grocery hunting.